Okay, so welcome to the very first load of balls tested by the average golfer. So it's been a long time in the making, but I finally got here, and the first episode of my ball testing starts right here and now, and it's the Bridgestone TOUR B RXS model. It's not quite the one Tiger's using, but it's going to be a very, very popular brand. It's not available in the UK, I think, until mid-February. I think it's been available across, certainly in the US, from sort of, I think, October last year. So many of you from the US will have played it, but unfortunately UK golfers not as yet, but very, very soon. Anyway, the RXS ball, it's aimed at what Bridgestone are saying is low to mid handicappers. It's those who want distance and feel. It's a 338 dimple design. And let's get into a little bit. I'm going to keep these very, very simple in terms of technical spec, but I'll give you a little bit of blurb from Bridgestone. In both two models, the RX and the RXS, the pattern provides more surface coverage of dimples to help slow rotation of the ball and increase consistency / forgiveness. Okay, so that's an interesting one. It's a urethane cover, it's a soft urethane cover, and it's a three-piece ball. Okay, so we're going to start, and this was back in sort of, I think it was October, November of last year, with some dry ball data. That's the first thing I want to do. Let's have a look what happened in controlled environment. All these numbers I've got are from TrackMan, and two things to mention. The club that I used was the 7-iron and the pitching wedge from the TaylorMade P770 irons, so not particularly strong or lofted, but that's the numbers I used for this part of the test. Here come the numbers, and let's have a quick look. Okay, so first up, if we throw out the numbers for the pitching wedge, very, very consistent. And what I tried to do with this was achieve, don't forget, everything is all about strike, in particular with golf ball testing. It's open to, it's very subjective, but what I tried to do is record as much data, similar data as possible for the test, so it can have a consistent ball strike, and they're obviously trying to achieve consistent results. So ball speed, 88.8 mile an hour with a pitching wedge. Carry distance remained consistent, strike was consistent, total carry was consistent, as was launch. So I managed to keep all those parts of the data the same. And the real thing with pitching wedge for me, in particular, apart from obviously seeing those consistencies and distances, was the spin rate. And let me tell you, this was a very high spinning golf ball. For those of you who watch my videos, I don't put a great amount of spin on a golf ball, but believe me, in this instance, 10-4 on a pitching wedge was a lot of spin. That's the first point. Next point, we went to 7-iron. Let's have a look at what the 7-iron numbers did. Okay, so slightly longer club in hand, a little less consistent in terms of the strike from me, so ball speed varied a little bit. Carry distance remained fairly constant, as did the total yardage. And again, these numbers with that particular P770 iron and the way it's lofted, they're the kind of numbers I would expect to achieve, so all stayed fairly constant. But once again, the noticeable thing for me was the spin number. And I repeat the message I said earlier, 5.6 spin on average across those 5 shots, and one in there, well, there's a 5.890 and a 6.380. There's just one dropped out at 5,000. Again, I'll be down to strike. Shows that this ball does a lot in terms of performance if you're looking for spin. That I can see from those two numbers, at least in dry ball data. But now we've got to take the golf ball out on the course. So the first thing is, I had the fortunate opportunity to go to Almenara Golf Resort in Sotogrande with Glencore Golf, and I managed to get some ball testing done out there. First test that you're looking at now is me hitting in, it's about 105, 108 into this flag. Into a little bit of wind, so we'll have an impact on spin, and slightly uphill. But you can see from the reaction there of both those two balls that have been hit in, there's a huge amount of spin being impacted. Now, I'm not suggesting in a 100% positive way, because you've got to control that spin, and as you can see where my balls have finished up, they're a long way from the flag, and in my case there, spin has not proven to be my friend. But next shot's in, I'm going to have a look at, again, short of the green, 20 yards short of the green, maybe a sort of 40-yard pitch shot. Once again, what I liked about the RXS is the way it's reacted in these kind of spin shots. First shot better than the second one in terms of strike, and as you can see, the way the ball has reacted again and checked up on that first ball slightly better than what happened on the second. However, on both shots, again, you can see that the ball has reacted very, very well, and it's in and around where you'd want to be from the kind of strike that I achieved. Final thing then was to go on to the putter, and from putter, obviously what you're looking at is, I think this is very much a personal preference. So for me, it's about sound, which then resonates to feel, and all I can say is it had a nice soft feel to it, and you'll see throughout the reviews that I do, that's the kind of feel that I like, but it's not the feel that everybody likes. So I don't like a ball to be too clicky in terms of sound. I like a more softer feel, and I think that's what the RXS does. So it's very much about what you are looking for from your golf ball. Now then, the way I'm going to end all these videos, because I don't want to get these too long, the golf balls, I can't make them the most exciting videos there will ever be, but I'm going to do them all the same. But what I'm going to end with is I'm going to score these balls as I see them in categories. So here we go, here come the categories now. Okay, yeah, so that's my categories, and that's how I'm going to score these balls. I'm going to get stuck straight into dry ball data, so how it performed and what I'd expect it to do in terms of, I've been testing golf clubs at least for the last 18 months or so. I know what I'm looking for in terms of 7-iron and pitching wedge, in terms of what I normally achieve in terms of spin, and it performed very, very well indeed. Like I said, an average of over 10,000 spin with a pitching wedge and 5 and a bit spin. 5,500 spin with a 7-iron is really, really good numbers for me. So I can't do nothing, but perhaps I could have achieved a better number in terms of spin and give it a 10 out of 10 if it had got me up and around the 7,000 revs with the 7-iron. But realistically, like I've said in all this test, it's important to remember that's down to my strike and nothing to do with the golf ball itself. Right, next up is feel. Again, a very, very personal thing. It's a message that I think that runs through all of this. Golf ball testing is very, very subjective if you ask me, but my personal thoughts on feel was I loved the way it felt. I liked the kind of soft feel when I was putting, and I liked the interaction and the sound between club and ball on the longer irons and the pitching wedge and such like in and around the green. So again, I really liked the feel. It was a real thumbs up for me, but like I said, I think it's very much down to the individual on what you like to hear and feel from a golf club. But for me, I'm scoring this one yet again a 9 out of 10. Big score on this for the RXS so far. Now, next category is value, because I think this is mega important. We often forget about price of things, and I think with golf balls, on the basis of we average golfers, we lose a few, then I think value for money has also got to be considered. This golf ball is going to retail at $38.99. That's the RRP price for the UK. I don't know what it translates to in terms of what's being sold in the US market at the moment, but that's the RRP price for the launch in February. So for me, that's a premium price golf ball. I understand why it's a premium price golf ball, because it's exactly that. But for me, it's still on that steep side. I'd like to see that brought down for the average golfer to access this kind of quality of ball. But it is right up there with the sort of top 4 or 5 golf balls in terms of price per dozen, but arguably it's right up there in terms of performance as well. So I understand why they charge it, but I'm going to have to mark it down on value. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 in terms of value. Right, next up is performance, and I'm talking now about the overall package. So what I've seen out on the golf course across a number of shots, consistency of performance both in ball flight, in and around the greens, pitching wedges in, and how it felt off the putter. And I've got to say, once again, overall performance of this golf ball was very, very consistent. It was impressive start to finish. So I would score it a 9 out of 10. So really good numbers, apart from the value maybe dipped a little. The overall average on this ball gives it an 8.5 out of 10. Like I said, value impacting on that, unfortunately, but this is, I suppose my summary would be this: would I gain this golf ball? Yes, damn right I would. This ball is impressive. I really, really liked it. I wanted to start off on a positive note. I've picked this golf ball for a reason. Yes, it's a very, very impressive golf ball. I think, like I said, if you can afford and if you're prepared to pay that kind of money for your golf balls, if you're purchasing balls at that kind of money already, and you're comfortable with that, then you won't be disappointed. It is a top ball, and I would imagine that release in February, I think it's doing really well in the US market, but I think in release in February it'll be a very, very popular golf ball this year in the UK and across the world as well. So that is me finished with the very first golf ball test by the average golfer. Hope you enjoyed that one. I'm trying to keep them short and sweet. Like I said, they're not the most interesting reviews in the world, but I'm doing as best as I can to get that information across to you in an interesting and informative way. Anyway, thumbs up if you like the video, comments down below if you have any questions about this golf ball. Subscribe if you don't already, but most of all, thanks for watching, enjoy your golf, and I'll see you soon on TOUR B RXS TV.